When you retire, you may get a chance to go to football heaven. This is football heaven.
Hey guys, welcome to The Mission. I'm your host, Shamir Howerton, and I am so super pumped for today's show. As we conclude our conversations with this year's finalists for the class of 2022 for the Pro Football Hall of Fame, today we get the golden honor of catching up with Saints Panthers legend Sam Mills' son. Guys, welcome to The Mission, Mr. Marcus Mills. Marcus, thank you so much for taking time out of your busy schedule to join us right here on The Mission. I'm so honored to be able to talk about your dad. Your dad has gone on to his glory, but the legacy lives through you and your brother, your other brother, and your sister. And man, when you hear the message that your dad is a finalist for this year's class of the Pro Football Hall of Fame, how does that resonate to you and your other siblings?
You know what? It's truly a blessing that other people are recognizing at the highest level of what my father has given to the game and just given to the people who he's been around, the impact that he's had. And it's just fantastic. It's just awesome to get to see that recognition come around. And this is an amazing honor. You know, he's been put in other Hall of Fames, but nothing is the Pro Football Hall of Fame. You know, the Saints Football Hall of Fame, the Carolina Panthers Football Hall of Fame. And this year he's also going to be put into the North Carolina State Hall of Fame. And that's the Pro Football Hall of Fame is the last one. That's all he has left. So it is a fantastic honor, and we're just so happy to be a part of it.
Your dad was a undrafted player coming into league back in 1986, man. I know you were a youngin', but if you could just, you know, from just reliving that moment for your dad, what do you think that meant to him to be signed by the New Orleans Saints at that time?
Well, I think it meant everything. You know, starting in '83, actually, with the Philadelphia Stars, was his first stint in professional football. And then, you know, he had a very successful 3 years with that league, won 2 championships, was a standout player. And then moving into the NFL, you know, he still had the need to prove that he can play in his league at the highest level. Jim Mora had faith in him, and he already knew he can do it. He brought him in, you know, Sam Mills, my father, he spent every year just proving that all the work that he put in pays off, and that he belonged here with some of the great names that, you know, were in the NFL at the time.
What was it like being at that Ring of Honor ceremony in New Orleans with you and your family members?
I tell you what, it was fantastic. It was really, it was a beautiful thing. We love the city of New Orleans. The city of New Orleans has always loved Sam Mills and the Dome Patrol. It was just like coming home. Being there with Ricky Jackson and Pat Swelling was also there. Jim Mora came out to visit. It was just like almost like a family reunion coming back home. And it's such a huge honor, but it still feels like home because it's Superdome. You know, it's crazy to think that such a big place could feel like home, but that's where we grew up at. So it was just great to come back home and receive that honor.
What were some of your fondest memories of watching your dad on the gridiron play there in New Orleans?
You know what? There's just so many memories. You know, it's funny because as a kid, you know, you don't really follow the script that your father puts down. So my favorite players were Barry Sanders and Jerry Rice and some of his rivals at the time. So it was just always great to see him go out there and compete. And at the time, the Superdome didn't have the turf that they had now. So some of my memories were to seeing how these guys came bruised and scraped up from that hard AstroTurf that they had in the dome. They were playing on about like a half an inch of rough carpet and the cement underneath it. So I just remember them coming out like gladiators after the games, bruised up and ready to get back to it next week. And I thought these guys were completely insane.
but there was a point that, like, when did you and your brother and your sister know, like, hey man, dad's pretty good at this. Like, he's the man.
You know what? It's difficult because you always look at dad like dad. And my father didn't walk around as if he was better than anyone or if he was greater or deserved more than anyone else. Now on the field, he became a different person. You can see he's making plays. You hear his name called all the time, recovering fumbles, causing, making big plays. You see that. But, in everyday life, 99.9% of the time that we spend with him, he's just dad. He's just another guy. So,
But he has a statue. I understand there's a statue in his honor. Carolina Panthers. Tell us about that.
yeah. So that was a great honor. And the thing I appreciate most about what the Carolina Panthers did was that they gave him his statue while he was still alive. So he actually got a chance to be around it, and that doesn't happen too often where a player is still alive to see such an honor. But it was a great it's a great experience for our family, and especially for him as well, and the process of them making the mold of him for the statue, and it's just something that's going to live forever. And my friends send me pictures all the time whenever they come into Charlotte, North Carolina. They always go to the statue, they take pictures and they send it to me. And it's also going to be something I get to do with my daughter now. She gets to share in that legacy and take pictures with her. It's a place she can always go to visit them.
That's amazing. If you could tell us, keep pounding, where did the slogan come from and how does that resonate to you and your family?
Yes. Keep pounding. So keep pounding came from a speech that he made as a coach through their Super Bowl run. I believe they were playing the Dallas Cowboys, and it was his turn up to motivate the team. He gave a speech, and he gave a speech with the headline of keep pounding, to keep working, to never give up, to never quit. And he related his experience of getting sick and having cancer, but just not being an option, quitting not being an option. And the only option is to keep pounding, to keep going and to keep fighting. And the team took that message and they won their game. They went on to the Super Bowl. But we use that with pretty much everything we do. And everyone who's been around Sam Mills, that message has always been given, just consistently keep working, just keep working. You're going to lose, you're going to fall at some points, but the thing that you can control is your effort and your ability to get up and keep trying. So I will definitely pass that on to my daughter. I know my brother uses it every day. He coaches in the NFL now, and I know that's a message he feeds his guys as well. So it's a message that sticks with us all the day, every day, all day. And even with the guys who are in that locker room for the speech, you hear them, you see news clippings all the time where they speak about keep pounding as well, and how it's carried them through their careers and their journeys.
Yeah, there's the keep pounding fun as well as the keep pounding 5K. Tell us about how that is helping impact the lives of young kids who are dealing with cancer.
Yeah, so keep pounding. It's the state and the city and the team really has used it as a rallying cry to make positive change in the community in North Carolina and South Carolina. So they raise money for cancer. It's pretty much that simple. Everyone knows the slogan. Everyone knows the cause. Everyone, by the time you reach a certain age, everyone has been touched by cancer in one way or another. So everyone understands. And we just give a platform where people can give back. And it's great that people can stand shoulder to shoulder with some of the cancer patients and rally them on with their, cheer them on in their fight. Sometimes you're in a spot where you're the only one who can actually have the fight. And that's what cancer is like. Sometimes even for kids, you wish that you could take that fight for them. But what you can do is you can stand by their side, shoulder to shoulder, and cheer with them and tell them to keep pounding, keep working, keep fighting. And you can also give money to help out and support.
Man, Marcus, I got to really tap in because you and your brother both played sports. Now, did your sister play sports as well?
Well, mostly my brother and I. Brother and I.
Okay.
Yeah.
So what was that like? Let's really dive in. Your father being an NFL great, how much that influenced you, and let's talk about some of the lessons that you learned from your dad.
Yes. You know what? It's funny, but my father never pressured us to play sports, to play football. The surrounding community pressured us more than he did. He just wanted to make sure that whatever we did, we gave 100% of our effort, right? So we're not going to be half in or half out. And that came with sports. That came with, I remember one time I was in the band and I was playing saxophone and I was half in. He's like, either you're going to be all the way in or you're going to be all the way out, right? If you're going to do this, you're going to do it. But that was just with everything in life. And he coached us not in technique, but in character when it came to football. To tell you the truth, my brother was probably a better athlete at that age at a young age than my father was at the time, but my father had the character, even at a young age, of someone who was great. He always had it. So that's what he could teach us. That's what he can best teach us, because a lot of people can teach speed and agility and how to tackle. But to have a character coach was probably the best coach that he could be for us as we grew up in sports.
And you mentioned off camera that your brother is the defensive line coach for the Washington football team, and yourself, you actually were part of the coaching tree, if you will. Tell us about your path through the ranks of coaching.
Yeah, so I actually played for Joe Paterno at Penn State, and I stayed on there, and I became a part of that staff. And then I moved out to Temple University and got to learn from Al Golden. And Matt Rule was on that staff as well, who's coaching for the Carolina Panthers. So I got to learn from those guys. So I got to see a lot of great leaders growing up. And it's the same with Ron Rivera, my brother, who's been under his tutelage for quite some time. So we have some great leaders who have guided us and mentored us, some of the legendary leaders in football. So it's been a fantastic journey for both of us.
That's amazing. That's amazing. I know you said dad was dad, and it was like he played football. But if you could tell us some of the top moments in your dad's football history.
Yeah. So I will say, the Saints, just being a part of the Dome Patrol was something special. Pat Swilling and Ricky Jackson, Vaughn Johnson, being a part of something that is great, and they've been ranked as the greatest linebacking core of all time, and in some books, and just being able to lead that group, always had a special place in his heart, and that's what made New Orleans home. Just that group and just having dominant defenses. Other couple moments, I remember their first win against the Cowboys when he's playing for the Carolina Panthers. They beat the Cowboys in a playoff game. He got an interception to seal that game, and I just remember how ecstatic he was after the game. But still, he's dad, so I kind of joked about it. If you remember the highlight, he was going to take a knee. He got the interception and was thinking about taking a knee, but there was no one ahead of him. So he's like, wait a minute, maybe I can score, right? So then he takes off, and he at that time, I think both my brother and I were faster than him. So he takes off as fast as he can, and then he gets tackled at the 1 yard line. So we made fun of him for a while for that. But it was a great moment to each level, whether it was the Philadelphia Stars or the New Orleans Saints or the Carolina Panthers. He was able to build something great. And that was kind of the culmination of what they built at Carolina, that they were able to win a playoff game against the Dallas Cowboys in their second season of existence. So I think that was a great moment for him. Other than that, what he really got a lot of joy out of seeing other people who he mentored succeed. He would always talk about other players. Always talk about, man, this guy's going to be great one day, or this guy's going to be really good. Or I remember as he was drafting Dan Morgan, just talking about him at home, man, this guy's a player. He's got a motor on him. He's going to be good. He was just always talking about other guys and their potential. And I think that really made him happy to try to help others to maximize their potential.
That's amazing. And Marcus, for you and your brother, what type of coach dad was he? Was he kind of like breaking down film with you guys, or he was kind of like standoff and just let you guys do what you do?
Yeah, more of a standoff, let you do what you do. He'll offer a tip here and there, but in hindsight, in retrospect, we probably weren't the best sponges for knowledge at the time. You know how it is when whether you're a Tiger Woods' son. Tiger Woods says that his son doesn't really listen to him that much. In retrospect, I'm like, man, I could have been getting all the tips. I could have taken some shortcuts to become much better than what I was. But he really wanted us to walk our own journeys, and to really make decisions on our own life about how we wanted to be great in our own ways, which I really do. Now I can, as a new father, I can appreciate the space that was given and the encouragement into whatever I wanted to do, whatever walk of life I chose. He never wanted to box us in to think that, hey, you can only be great at football, or hey, you can only be great at sports. he really stressed that, whatever you want to do, you can do as long as you put in the effort and the hard work.
I had to ask you this question. Unfortunately, the NFL lost a giant this last year, in John Madden.
Yes.
And I'm quite for sure you play Madden a lot. I can just feel your energy. But do you recall Madden ever talking about your dad and how did that make you feel, having like John Madden talk about my dad?
Yeah. Crazy enough. It's, John Madden, obviously, if you grew up watching football, John Madden is an icon. He is NFL football. And he is video game football as well. So he just is football for a young adult or a young child too. John Madden, I remember some of the most joyous moments that most people don't or recognize is that when my father would make the John Madden teams, the all Madden teams. And you get this all Madden jacket, and the jacket is so colorful. It looks kind of tacky now, but my father used to be super proud of him to make that all Madden team because, John Madden, as much of a character as we try to make him out to be, just because of the announcing and the boom, that's a truck and all that. The guy knows football. He knows football better than anyone knows football. And to be selected by him to be the best in the league, I remember my father bringing those jackets home and being proud. And whether it was almost more impressive than making a Pro Bowl is making that all Madden team at the time. And I remember John Madden talking about the Saints defense, saying that I think he placed them second behind the 85 Bears. But he said, this is the second best defense I've ever seen, which is ultra impressive. It doesn't get more impressive than that. So it's like LeBron chasing Jordan at some point, that you should just be happy to be second, right? And it's just an honor. John Madden has always spoken very highly of Sam Mills, the Dome Patrol, and definitely the New Orleans Saints defense.
I got to ask you, because I asked some of the guys I had a chance to talk to, do you feel like you left everything out there on the field? But for you, being the son of an NFL legend, what was it like when your dad decided to hang up the cleats? And, did he come to you and your siblings and say, hey guys, this is it? What was that moment like, if you don't mind sharing?
Yeah, no, I don't mind at all. And it's funny. I'll tell you how he told his agent first. So his agent, Brett Sr., and I just found out about this in a few months ago in New Orleans. Brett Senior told me, he's like, how your dad told me that he was retiring. He called me the week of the last game and I said, hey, Brett, you might want to fly down here. I'm thinking about announcing my retirement this week. and that's the last game of the season. He just kind of made the decision and just went for it. And that's kind of how he operated. So he told us as well. And, he had been thinking about it for the last few years. And the year prior to that, he made all pro. So he had more years in the tank. He came off of he still had a good season in him. He clearly had another year to go, but he makes decisions and he goes for it. So he was like, you know what, I'm out of this football thing for right now. I'm going to put all my effort to something else. He was happy with his decision. He was in a good place. He felt like he gave all that he could give to Philadelphia and to the Carolina Panthers. And it wasn't really a sad moment for him or for the family. We didn't see him as a football player. We saw him as a leader in whatever he wanted to do. And people around him saw that as well. So all he had to decide next is, well, what do I want to do? So it's just the next chapter. It wasn't an end to anything.
That's amazing. And just lastly, the legacy. What would this mean if you guys did get notice that your dad is in the Pro Football Hall of Fame? What would that mean to you and members of your family?
It would mean a lot. It would mean a lot because we think it would mean a lot to Sam Mills. And to think about how he would have accepted it is very emotional for us, because not only is he thinking about everything that he's put into the game and all the effort and all the weight room sessions and all the being cut and told, no, you can't do it. And still being able to overcome that. Not only is he thinking about himself and his own journey, but he's thinking about all the other people who have come up since then. All the London Fletchers and all the other undersized guys who now have a place where they can no longer be told, no, you can't. You're too slow. You're too small. You can't play the game. But not only can you play the game, you can be the best. You can make it to the Hall of Fame. And I think that he wears that on his shoulder, being a leader of that group of guys who are told no, who are told you're too small, told that it's not your time, told that you're not good enough, to be like, yeah, I can do this. And not only can I do it at a high level, but I can be the best. And I think he would have been proud of being able to hold that torch for the rest of those people and lay down the path for those to follow.
Well, Marcus, man, we're pulling for your family, and we wish you guys nothing but the best. And we want to thank you so much for reliving those magic moments of your dad's legacy right here on The Mission. Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Marcus Mills.
Thank you, Jameer.